Welcome to episode 13 of Book Nerd Paradise, where we get to know an author as they tell one of their favorite quotes, read from their work, pose a trivia question, and give away a book or two. Hi, I'm LRW Lee, author of the Andy Smithson Epic Fantasy Adventure Series. As always, Book One, the ebook, is available for free download on Amazon, so please be sure to get yourself a copy. Today, we welcome YA fantasy author Tricia Stewart Shiu as our guest. Tricia is an award-winning screenwriter, author, and playwright, but her passion lies in crafting mystical stories. A creative spirit from a young age, she experimented with acting and wrote one-woman shows and plays. She produced a short performance piece called Doing Lunch, which made its way into a short film trilogy. That film won Best Dramatic Short at the Houston Film Festival in 1993, so she's quite accomplished. Tricia lives in Southern California with her husband and their 9-year-old daughter, Sydney. Welcome, Tricia.
Thanks, Linda.
Great to have you. So let's start this episode with a giveaway.
I'm going to give away all 3 books in the MOA series. So the first book, MOA, the second book, Statue of Ku, and the third book, Iron Shinto. And all 3 books are award-winning young adult science fiction a series. So it's all good.
Awesome. Oh, that's great. Yeah, the whole series, that I'm sure nobody's going to have a problem signing up for that one, huh? So to enter to win the MOA series, be sure to leave a comment on YouTube. Liking the episode won't enter you, but be sure to leave a comment and you'll be good to go. You'll be reading from the first book of the series called MOA. Can you give us a brief synopsis of the trilogy itself so that our readers can get some feel for that?
So the first book, MOA, it takes place in Hawaii, and it has mystical elements, talks about ancient culture, and it follows Hillary House, who's an 18-year-old young woman who's graduated from high school, and she flies out to visit her sister, who's 10 years older than her, and her niece. Hillary, and then her sisters Molly, and her niece is Heidi, and they go on an adventure together because MOA, this ancient spirit, needs some humans' help to solve an ancient mystery. And then the second book, Statue of Ku, is the same group of people, and it's narrated by Ku, a young boy, and it takes place in Egypt. These human girls and their spirit friend MOA help Ku solve another ancient mystery. And then the third book is Iron Shinto, and that takes place in Japan, and the narrator is Mina, another ancient spirit, and the same group helps them. So they go through, and the group sort of learns things about themselves and helps this ancient spirit.
Good. Oh, that sounds very unique. I've not watched any series that relates to a particular spirit needing human help, so that's great. So you've selected a favorite quote. Would you tell us what that is and then why it's a favorite?
So my quote is from MOA, and it's, "The light is not at the end of the tunnel, it's inside you." And the reason I love that quote so much is that so many times, even I tend to look outside myself for answers, when really the answer's inside me. And especially when, something big happens, whether it's good or bad, it's so important to remember that being centered inside yourself is the most important thing, because then you really have a perspective that you wouldn't have if you were looking outside yourself at other people, other events, trying to gain some knowledge or perspective.
You're going to be reading from the first book, MOA, in the MOA series. Would you briefly set up the portion you'll be reading and then read for us?
I'm going to be reading about when MOA first tries to contact Hillary. MOA has already, in the story, told a little bit about herself, but not much. She's talked about her fascination with humans. A little bit of Hillary's story, the 18-year-old girl, has been told as well. She's traveled to Hawaii from California. That's where she grew up. And so she's now at her sister's house, with her sister and niece, and they're all asleep. And Moa decides that that's the best time to contact Hillary because Moa desperately needs Hillary's help. Watching Hillary sleep, I hover inside this smartly arranged room, undetectable. The household has been inhabited by kind and loving souls, both master and servants. Most humans would think I'm a housefly. Hillary is uneasy with my presence, even though she doesn't consciously acknowledge I'm here, and she rolls from side to side, but her discomfort with my presence lets me know she is aware, at least on an unconscious level, that I'm here. And although she doesn't see it yet, she's in for the adventure of a lifetime. If, that is, she accepts. Here's another problem with humans: free will. Humans have the ability to choose, and the pesky universal law wreaks havoc with my assignments. My assignment with regard to Hillary is simple: persuade her to help in saving the ancients' access between the worlds. Lord Paulet penned the mysterious and worrisome note she found during her ritual, demanding that she leave the island. She has no idea that he is her great-great-great-grandfather. Lord Paulet is a lost soul. After death, some souls remain in an unknowing state in which they falsely believe they are eternally alive. When this happens, they remain in a loop of consciousness, and their unfinished business continues to play out over and over again. After Admiral Thomas re-established Hawaiian rule, Lord Paulet fled to another part of the island, where he found and entered a portal, transitioning through a similar process as I. He refused guidance on the other side and continues to fight to gain control of the Hawaiian Islands. However, since he is no longer a human, he is now fighting a battle of control over access to the island via the portal. Life goes on without him. Buildings are built and rulers come and go. However, in his mind, the island is still his, and he must try to capture it. I've had enough of waiting for Hillary to wake up. I blow a gust of cold wind on her feet, exposing her tootsies to the evening air. Nothing. Molly softly snores in her sleep in the other room. She's dreaming of her late husband during happier times. I must remember to mention that Steve sends his regards. But now on to more pressing items, asking Hillary for help. This time I whisper and send a chilly gust of air toward her head. Hillary! My voice wafts through the air and does the trick. Hillary sits bolt upright and pops one eye open, which stares mercilessly through me. Then she falls sideways back onto the pillow, eyes closed. Sometimes it takes people a few minutes to calibrate their vision to my presence. She groans, blinks, closes her eyes, then opens one. Poor thing, she's never seen or experienced anything like me. She closes her eyes and sleepily pulls the green cotton blanket over her head, but I know she's not asleep. She's wondering what woke her up. What is it, a noise, a dream? I try again. Hello, Hillary. My voice is clear and open. She finally sees me. My form is that of a 7-year-old girl, with sleek dark brown hair, curious and snapping hazel eyes. I draw myself up to my full height, 4 feet 5 inches, and smile warmly as I can. She does a quick check-in and feels her body on the air mattress and is aware of her surroundings, so she scrunches her eyes shut, then pops one open. Hi. She thinks she's dreaming. Then she blurts out, "Who are you?" I proudly answer with my full Hawaiian birth name, Moa'a Hu'ulikia'a Ki Hana Piki Luku Hu'e Hai Pu'u. And upon her seeing a blank reaction, I add, "Just call me Moa." Okay, Moa, she checks in with herself again, and believing she's asleep, decides to enjoy this interesting and highly vivid dream. I'm listening. You invoked me, remember? Breathe in life, breathe out death, bring the one who heals the breath. Open up eternal skies for those who mourn no last goodbyes. I'm the one who heals the breath. Steve is okay, by the way. Steve? She rubs one eye and sits up a little straighter than before. He's busy fulfilling his ancestral destiny on the other side. Now, how would you like to save the Hawaiian Islands? Upon seeing her puzzled look on her face, I take a different tack. You've been chosen to help heal your family, and in the process save the Hawaiian Islands. Hillary's eyes are still open, but they glaze over with the information. First thing you'll need to do, I continue, is to tell your sister that her husband says hi. Even though his initial departure from Earth was abrupt, he has transitioned nicely and sends his best wishes. Then I add as an afterthought, oh, and I'll arrange it so that you run into an old friend of Molly's, Sharon, tomorrow when you're on your walk. This will prove that what I say is true. Perhaps you'll agree with me and then help to save the Hawaiian Islands. Well, it's Moa, right? I nod encouragingly. You're how old, 5 or 6? Well, I was 7 when I became an ancestral gatekeeper. Hillary interrupts. There are probably better games to play with than this. Why don't you go fly down to Heidi's room? I'm sure she'll be thrilled to have a visit from a local girl about her age. With that, Hillary flips over and quickly falls back to sleep. Okay, she asked for it.
Our guest author last week, Nicole Lykin, posed a trivia question for us. Nicole, would you refresh our memory what that was and then give us the answer?
The question was, what are the 4 lands of Oz in L. Frank Baum's series? And the answer is the Quadling Country, the Gillikins, the Winkies, and of course the Munchkins.
Tricia, you have a trivia question for our listeners. What is it?
What's the first name of the main character in the Hunger Games?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm sure lots of people will have a name to chime in with that one. Do you have any final thoughts to leave with our listeners today, Tricia?
If there's anything that I've learned, I was incredibly inspired by classic writers. One of them was James Joyce, Portrait of an Artist. Ray Bradbury was a great influence in my life. I almost feel like that is more of an important part of why I write than just expressing myself. But those 2 people, even though I never got to speak with them, they passed on something very important to me that I'd like to pass on, and that is about speaking your truth, finding your voice. So no matter what anyone else says, find a way to express yourself in a unique way and trust that that is your truth and that it will be something that will lead you to success.
So I hope you've enjoyed getting to know our guest, Tricia Stewart Shiu. I'm LRW Lee, author of the Andy Smithson Epic Fantasy Adventure Series. As I mentioned at the beginning, Book One, Blast of the Dragon's Fury, is free for download, the ebook, so be sure to get that. Our guest next episode will be YA fantasy author Leah Galt, reading from her debut fantasy novel, Disenchanted, that launched June 1st. The synopsis reads, descended from a powerful Weathersfield witch, 16-year-old Sophie is struggling to hide her awkwardly emerging magic. But that's the least of her worries. When a dangerous thief tries to steal her mysterious heirloom necklace, she's rescued by the one person she's forbidden to fall for, a descendant of the man who condemned her ancestor to hang. He carries a dark secret that could destroy them both unless Sophie learns how to tap into the mysterious power of her diamond blood charm. She will have to uncover dark secrets from both of their families' wicked past and risk everything, including her soul, to save them from a witch's true love curse. But it will take much more than that. So that sounds like quite an interesting story as well, following up.
Click the button to subscribe to the Book Nerd Paradise YouTube channel so you don't miss upcoming authors, giveaways, and answers to trivia questions.
Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join us next episode for Leah Goff, who's coming up.